What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Imperial Beach Dad here, and what I want to do is tell you the story of 2016 through the eyes of Matt Henry. That's me. And I hope that this will be helpful and inspiring to you. And so first, let me set the stage, okay? In 2015, my big thing was that I got healthy. I lost 45 pounds, and I'm going to make a video on how I did it later. It's called How to Get Ripped Without Getting Ripped Off, so you can look forward to that this year. But here's the thing. I got healthy, and I also started to suffer with depression in 2015, and it really came out of nowhere, and it was very scary for me. So then in December of 2015, so the very end of that year, I had my first panic attack, and we're talking like level 10. I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like the whole world was closing in on me, and that like life was just ending. It was the most terrifying thing ever, like full adrenaline dump into my body. And it happened 3 or 4 times over the course of a week on vacation. It wasn't stressed. It wasn't brought on by stress. It just didn't seem to have any reason. It was really, really scary. Here's the thing. For 35 years, I have been this flamboyantly optimistic, always like the happiest guy that anyone would ever meet, and now I'm living with depression and anxiety, and I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And it's not based in circumstance. I'm not going through a divorce, I'm not going through bankruptcy or anything like that. It's just like I could be eating Cheerios or laughing with the baby, and all of a sudden these panic attacks would take over, and I would just spend days just upset, or not over anything, just this feeling of upsetness and hiding out in the garage with the lights off. Don't worry, I'm in the garage now, but not for depression. Okay, so that's kind of the scene. And in my job, we were reading this book about burnout in our profession, and I'm in this meeting and we're talking about this, and I break down. I have like a full-on nervous breakdown. I'm sobbing, and I'm trying to, explain the pain and the difficulty that I'm going through. And it was really scary, but here's the thing, it was good. I'm glad that it happened because it opened up a great dialogue. I wasn't judged or didn't have any kind of negative effects from anybody. In fact, I had 3 or 4 of the people in that group really come alongside me. They weren't able to solve it for me, but they were able to be like, dude, I've been there too. And here's the lifeboat, and go that way, get some help. And so I started doing that. And so I started this journey of self-care, of learning how to take care of myself. I'd already learned how to take care of my body, but in 2016, I really learned what I would call soul care, how to take care of my soul. And I also would say that a high value for 2016 for me was an open dialogue. It was kind of nice that happened in a kind of public environment with all of my coworkers, because it opened the door, and they were all so non-judgmental that I kept the door open, and I would regularly talk with people about it. I can remember instances where people were like, "How are you?" And I'd be like, "Honestly, not great. I've been dealing with anxiety and panic attacks. I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know what's going on." And I mean, I had people just every time, no one judged me or freaked out, would react in a way that was compassionate and helpful. I remember my friend, who I kind of knew professionally, I had helped do his wedding. He's a captain in the Navy, okay? Like commander of a fleet, like big high up dude. And his response was, "Brother, I've been there too. Go to your doctor, get some medication, you'll get through it. It's your age, it's nothing to worry about, but you can get through this." And it was like, man, there's somebody I respect, like the utmost respect for this guy. And he had so much compassion on me, and again, gave me permission to feel this way. And I kept an open dialogue. So when people would ask how I was doing, I would often open right up. I wasn't just like emotionally throwing up all my junk on everybody, but I was honest about how I was doing, and I got a lot of great feedback and good help from people. So open dialogue. I found out that I was not alone, which is really good. And I started to follow some of their advice. I went to the doctor, and I told my doctor what was going on, and my first doctor wasn't that great. I went to another doctor, and I found one that was good, and they put me on some antidepressants. I did, here I am, the most flamboyantly happy person for 35 years, and now I'm on antidepressants, and I'm trying to figure out, wow, what do I do with this? But I'm willing to do anything I can to be back to myself, and also to make sure that I'm positive and there for my family. Speaking of family, let me just break it down. As we enter 2016, we have a family of a lot of us, okay? So my wife and I, our first son Ryder, our second son Liam, we had 2 foster sons, okay, at that time, and then we also had our first daughter, or the only daughter at that time. So I have 5 kids. So we had 5 kids. They were 5 and under, and at one point in 2016, they were aged 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so that's a little intense. So we got a full plate. That's fine. So back to my story. Okay, I go to a therapist, and this was one of the most helpful things that I did. If you are suffering with, depression, anxiety, any of that stuff, please go see a professional therapist. And if you don't have a good experience, go find another one, okay? And I went and saw a Christian guy, and he was such a good dude, and he really helped me understand the neuroscience of what was going on in my brain that was causing the reaction for me to feel panic and anxiety and depression. And that was really helpful for me because there were tools that I could do to strengthen my mind and strengthen my ability to control some of those feelings. And so those are some really good tools. And then he also recommended that I do a lot of meditating. And meditating was a little bit hard for me at first. I've gotten much better at it, but at the beginning it was kind of hard. But I read somewhere that for adults, coloring actually is like the same thing as meditating. That when you really dive into art, it gets you into your right brain, and it gets kind of shuts down all of your incessant thinking and all of that stuff, and you're able to just kind of Zen-like focus on something. And so I began to really dive into art. And so this is when I made the commitment, because one of my things in art, and because you're watching this, is YouTube. I love making videos. I've been doing it since we first had our son. I was making silly videos of him, mostly as a prop, but a little action star and all of that stuff. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to make a video every week. I'm going to challenge myself to do that. And that's not an easy thing to do. I had 5 kids and a full-time job and lots of stuff going on, but decided I'm gonna dive into that. And it was one of the best things that I've ever done. At the time, I had less than 300 subscribers. I remember posting on Facebook, hey, I'm just throwing this out there so you guys can hold me accountable, but I'm gonna make a video every week. Right now I have 300 subscribers. And I also found Instagram. As an adult, I didn't really understand Instagram. I was using the Facebook just like everybody else, and I didn't really understand Instagram because I'm like, well, it feels like just the photos from Facebook, but it's not. You're cultivating a gallery of art. And so I began to post on Instagram every day. And so if you like my YouTube channel, check out my Instagram. It's Imperial Beach Dad. And here's the thing. I post a picture every day, usually with some sort of inspirational quote. It's a picture of me surfing usually, or enjoying life, or doing something. And once I had a millennial explain the power of Instagram and kind of figured out why I was using it wrong and how to use it better, I really, really began to enjoy it. And so art every day was kind of like this hashtag mantra for my life. And so I began to do that. Also, exercise, okay? Exercise releases endorphins, and that's one of the things that produces joy. And so as I was struggling, I began to find that exercise was super helpful for me. In fact, I had multiple times, I have GoPro footage of this actually, where like, as I was paddling out, I would have a panic attack because they weren't triggered by anything. They just come out, and it was like, wow, I'd do my breathing exercises and kind of just get out to the lineup and then ride one wave, and I'd be smiling ear to ear. And then I'd forgotten all about the panic, all about the anxiety, all about the depression, and I would just keep surfing. And I found that, man, if I surf, I can't have a bad day. Even if I have panic attacks, they just wash right over me and I'm fine. And so I kind of started this other hashtag for my life, surf every day. And so my thing was art every day, surf every day. And so I started exercising a lot, and I kind of had this thing that was like, man, surfers have this thing that they call the stoke. And it's this idea that it's just this joy, this happiness, and it's often shared. And so this idea of stay stoked, hashtag stay stoked, is kind of this thing that's really become a big part of my channel. I always end every video with stay stoked, and it's this idea that, dude, making a video for you gets me stoked, and oftentimes shares that stoke with others who watch it, and then share it with their friends, and it goes on from there, and it's pretty cool. So 2016, let's talk about highlights and events. There were a number of things that happened in 2016, okay? First off, my ride or die car, okay? If you've known me for a long time, it's this kind of joke. It's a 1996 Geo Metro, okay? It's like the 3-cylinder, 5-speed, okay? It gets like a stupid amount of miles per gallon. It's an awesome, awesome car. I bought it for $1,000, so I call it my $1,000 Prius. I love that car, and I blew the head gasket, which is like, normally you would throw a car away, especially a car that you bought for $1,000, but I was like, I'm gonna learn how to fix it. I've never done anything like that level of, mechanic stuff. I'm not afraid to try stuff though. I'm not afraid to learn new things. So one of my video series this year was fixing the head gasket. I made a how-to video. In fact, a number of you are now subscribers and friends of mine because you found the videos of trying to fix your car. And so that was kind of neat to be able to do that. Another thing was I broke my surfboard in half, kind of like my dream board. I had bought it in 2015 and I broke it. Shooting the pier, or rather having the pier shoot me. As I was the shooting the pier is where you slice in between the pylons and just keep riding, and I missed it. And so broke my board, and I was super sad about it. But good thing is that I replaced it, and I made a video about that, the surfboard love story, where I replaced my surfboard, and that was a really big deal. I smashed my finger so bad, and then I made this crazy video of how to essentially like pop the blood blister that's under your fingernail. It's kind of gross, but here's the thing, that's been one of the most popular videos of the year. It was also a big event in my life, and so that was kind of cool. Again, diving into art, I made this screen door, which I think is beautiful, and I have plans to make some more. And oh yeah, I got my wife pregnant. Yeah. Okay, so we decided to have another baby, and so we got pregnant again, this time with a baby girl, and we had a really fun time telling our then 5 kids that they were all going to be big brothers, big sisters, and have a new baby. And so that was really, really fun. Okay, I dove into gardening. Again, this is one of those things that was really helpful for me. I had lived my whole life either in crappy apartments or on a boat, so I'd never really had experience around dirt, and found out that gardening is something that I truly love. And I grew bunches of bananas. There's like a whole bunch of bananas. I should have brought them out here, but we have like, they come in a bunch of like 120 on a tree when they fruit, and so we got all these bananas that I grew out of the ground. It's so cool. We have chickens now, and I had a double yolk egg this year. Like all this cool stuff happened with the chickens and the gardening, and that's been really cool. We, for the second time in a row, entered the Demolition Derby. My buddy Kevin and I, who you're going to be seeing a lot of in 2017 on this channel, we helped build the Derby car for the Imperial Beach Fire Department, and then entered the Derby, and we got second place, and it was epic. It was just the most fun ever, and so that was a big event of 2016. Let's see, other stuff. We did 2 road trip adventures as a family, because again, when you now have 7 people in your family, plus one of them is pregnant, so 7.5. We're not flying anywhere because it's very expensive, right? So we drove, and we had lots of adventures there. There were 2 video series this year that we did on our adventures. You can watch those if you want. They're pretty funny. Good times there. So that was fun. I fixed my surfboard. That was cool because I broke my new dream board, and then I went back and fixed my original board, and that was really cool. And so I fixed that board, and again, just learning new things, not being afraid to try stuff that I've never done before, and then of course taking you guys along the journey. And so I picked up a lot of subscribers through people who searched how to fix your epoxy buckled surfboard, and so that's been cool. I've been able to help people that way as well. I got my first set of stitches. That sucked. A surfboard injury. It turns out when you surf every day, you're exposed to a lot of things like breaking boards and breaking your face on a board and that kind of thing. So got my first stitches. I did film that. That's on my YouTube channel as well. You could watch or not watch that based on how you feel about that. Oh, speaking of watching things, my YouTube channel in 2016 absolutely blew up. In fact, I got a little surprise for you here. What? YouTube hat! So I made this. We'll get to that in a little bit. But here's the thing. My YouTube, I celebrated some wins. I got a number of subscribers, and I got my first paycheck from YouTube. That was really neat. And then I was able to kind of transition that into replacing my GoPro, which I lost at sea. That was a bummer, but it helped me buy a used one on OfferUp, which was cool. And then I had this insane encounter with a whale. If you haven't seen that, you definitely need to watch this video. That was like one of the most unforgettable experiences of my life, especially the aftermath of everybody freaking out about it and stuff. I ran the Navy SEALs obstacle course, and there's an obstacle that I can't do. But if I hadn't wasted so much time trying that obstacle, I could have got a passing time. Like again, I had tried it years before, but having lost all the weight and gotten healthy, I almost freaking did it, and that was super cool. So that was a big accomplishment. Okay, so I'm feeling good. I'm in the great season of my life. I'm super blessed. We got 5 kids with another on the way. I just ran the obstacle course. I'm healthy and feeling good, surfing every day, and things are going great. I've still got the panic and the anxiety, but I've learned how to live with it. And then I'm sitting with the kids at breakfast time. Christy's out on a run, and I wake up on the floor, and she's waking me up, and I'm all confused and disoriented. It turned out I had had a seizure. Never had a seizure before, and to all knowledge, it seemed like I was in the best health of my life. Turns out they scanned my brain to determine it was a seizure, and when they did that, they found a brain tumor. And so I have had a brain tumor about the size of a walnut in my right temporal lobe, and so you can see my crazy scar there. And so I had a craniotomy surgery, which was a big deal, and this was 2 weeks before the adoption of our sons. And so as I'm recovering from this craniotomy, now first of all, the good thing was that the craniotomy explained everything about the panic, everything about the anxiety, everything about the depression. It was literally a tumor living on the fight or flight reflex of my brain. And so as that tumor grew or acted up or added a cell or whatever, it would just throw the switches and cause me to have a panic attack. And that's why I was having these like insane panic attacks that were untriggered, and why I was having this crazy depression, because it was in the emotional processing center of my brain. And so that kind of explained everything. And the good news is that as soon as I woke up from the surgery, I was myself again, happy, flamboyantly happy, optimistic, all of that stuff. And so it was good. But recovery from a craniotomy is a crazy deal. And so I was very fatigued, going through a lot, and all of that. And so we adopt our 2 sons. Yeah, Carson and Ashton. We can finally show you their beautiful faces. You'll see them on the channel a lot this year for sure. And so we're so blessed and excited about that. And we were on the news. They wanted us to tell our adoption success story. And so we were on the news. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch that news story. It's pretty cute. And we're literally filming that story. And on the way back, Christy begins to have some contractions. The baby was due. And so, yeah, so we go to the hospital, and if you know our story's crazy. I know I just casually drop things like, oh yeah, we lived on a boat for 6 years, and oh yeah, we had 2 babies in cars, okay? Well, we knew that we were susceptible to these like rapid flash labor births, and so we go straight to the hospital, and I'll tell you the whole birth story in this video here, but essentially Christy goes on a walk around the hospital, gives birth on her own, and then carries the baby to the front desk, and is like, yeah, I told you we were ready, and they were making us wait. It was just this really funny thing. And so we have our new daughter, baby Indigo Rain. We call her Indy, and she is just the most beautiful, precious thing on the whole world, and I'm so excited about it. And so here's the thing, all these things are going on, but I'm still struggling. It's all going so good, but I'm recovering, and I'm attributing all this weirdness that I'm experiencing to my brain. I'm obviously recovering from craniotomy, and so I'm having weird side effects and stuff, but it's like, well, yeah, your brain's healing, there could be some weirdness, and no one was too concerned about it. And I was kind of like a real boss about recovery. I removed my own staples and did all this stuff, and I was like ready to go and get back to my life. And the thing was, I wasn't getting better, and as my leave was kind of coming to an end, it was like they did this follow-up MRI, and it was funny because they were so sure that they got the whole tumor that like no one even looked at the MRI for a few weeks. And when they did, they called me back in because there's more tumor, and unfortunately. And so that explained all of the weirdness that I was experiencing. And so real mental struggles, a lot of limitations. It's gotten worse progressively every week. Really, it gets worse. And so I forget things. I wander. If I didn't have notes, I'd be all over the place in this video, but thankfully I have notes, so hopefully this is fairly straightforward. Here's the thing. I forget things. People can remind me of them, and then I remember them, but and it's becoming stronger and stronger. On Christmas morning, I opened a stuffed elephant for my daughter, and I was like, oh look, it's a... So I'm dealing with a lot of mental struggles and limitations. My ability to communicate is severely affected. I get really fatigued. I have it's like I have a really limited bandwidth, okay? So, and things that are normally would use up this much bandwidth use up like, all of it potentially. So like social things, if I go to like groups, especially where I know people, I get so fatigued so quickly, and I often will freak out and either like begin crying, like I'll get overcome with like this emotion of sadness, and I'm not sad about anything. It's just like the emotion of sadness. It's so weird. It's like standing on the edge of a river or something, and it's rushing by, but you're waist deep, and it's trying to pull you in, and it's like, I can feel it pulling on me, and it's like I don't want to get pulled in. And I've tried both ways. I've tried just diving in and just sobbing like a maniac, like I'm just a menopausal mess. I've also tried to fight it, and I'm learning better how to not get waist deep, and that's really what I'm learning is my limitations. And so I can't be around groups of people. I have to really limit conversations with people. I'm always so excited to see them because I'm back to being my flamboyantly happy, optimistic self. But if I get too excited and I talk to somebody for too long, I end up having to sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm no good to my family. And so I'm learning how to be better with that, but I'm dealing with a lot of that. I get real ragey, which is really not who I normally am. It's very inconsistent for my personality, but like the best way I can describe it is like being at like a 9.5 out of 10. And so the littlest thing can be just like push me over the edge into rage, and I'll say things that shock me. Like, I've never been a schoolgirl, but I've never been a sailor, and like, I'm just in that place, I'm trying to open a peanut butter jar or something, and I yell like MFR, it's like, what, craziness. And thankfully my wife is just the most gracious and amazing person ever, and she's not been freaked out by that, but she's very helped me figure out how to deal with that better. She's like, look, I know it's the brain tumor. I know it's not you. And I'm not judging. I'm not upset with you. But the last thing we need is cursing toddlers. So like when you're getting to that place, you just got to remove yourself. And what a gentle way to tell me, right? So she's amazing. You guys know that. You've seen her on the channel. But yeah, so I'm dealing with all these limitations. What I've found is good is I can surf again. Yeah, I made a great video about my first time back in the water, and the doctors totally are cool with that. So if you're worried about that, don't be. I always surf with like a qualified, like amazing lifeguard level, waterman. And I'm talking like not just in the tower, but like I make sure one goes out with me. So I never surf alone. My goal is to not surf alone until I get my driver's license back. Like once the DMV decides that I can drive a car, I'm not that enough of a seizure risk, then maybe I'll surf alone. But honestly, I like to surf with people anyway. So I've been back to surfing, which is really good. That's been helpful. Arts and crafts, kind of like how I mentioned before that art's like meditation. Arts and crafts, and so I can be productive all day long because physically I'm strong, I'm good. It's mentally that I'm weak, and it's the weirdest thing ever, especially because I really want to hang out with my friends and I want to do stuff. I want to be able to work and do my job. And the thing is, my job is and the other thing is academic. Anything, and I know I'm weaving. Sorry, I'm aware that I'm doing it. Anything really requiring intense thinking, like I can feel pressure building up in my head and I just end up sleeping for 6 hours. It's crazy. And so, my job is to be a communicator, to like manage a social environment, really a community of people, and of course to academically write and give talks. And so I can't work right now. I'm on disability. Thankfully, I was able to get into long-term disability. And what I do now is I focus on arts and crafts and I look at ways that I can help the family. Again, it's an unfortunate thing to have social limitations when you have a family of 8, because even the kids can overwhelm me, and that's really depressing, I guess. I'm not depressed right now. I'm like, that's gone, praise God. But it's just so sad to not be able to do stuff, to tell my kids, like, I'm sorry, Daddy can't be around you right now. It's not me, I'm sick. And they go, I know, I get it, Daddy. And they're so sweet, but I want to be myself again. And so we're working on that. I'm on long-term disability. I'm doing arts and crafts. I spend a lot of time in the garage working on stuff, building things. I've been doing some really neat stuff. Here's the thing. I've continued to make videos every week. I do want to kind of celebrate some YouTube wins. I got my second paycheck from YouTube. What? So I'm not rolling in it or anything. The way it works is when I reach the threshold of $100 in ad revenue, I get like the tiniest percentage of a cent for every view or whatever. And once it adds up to $100, I get a paycheck. And so I got my first one after 6 years of YouTubing earlier in the year. I got my second one just this month. And so that was really, really neat. And it's cool. I've met and helped some really cool people on YouTube. A lot of my, people who are watching this, my fans or whatever you want to call them, subscribers, have really become friends. It's funny, like, this has happened a lot recently where I'm out in the water and people are like, are you the YouTube guy? Like they get a little starstruck, and it's kind of funny just because I'm just a normal dude who's sharing my life, but that's what YouTube is all about. It's about you, and it's kind of like a channel about you. And the cool thing about it is that unlike, if you were on TV, you could be famous and people would watch you, but they don't get to know you or interact with you. But with YouTube, it's really a community, and we get to interact and exchange, stuff. And so I've made a lot of friends. My friend Jim, who surfs up north, like we talk regularly, and I really appreciate his kind of encouragement in my life, and I believe he does in mine in his life as well. And I've made a number of other friends, and I just really I appreciate that. Another cool thing is that like I've been very open about this brain tumor journey and struggle, and every day, lots of people get diagnosed with brain tumors, and their family members or themselves type into Google, like, I have a brain tumor, and they find my videos. I met someone recently, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, it's Erin, I think, but she's a really sweet girl. She's got 4 kids, and she had a brain tumor, and she told me, when they said the word craniotomy, I was freaking out. And then I watched your video and how much hope you had, and then now how you came out of it. Like, I can't believe you removed your own staples, but just watching you go through this made me feel like I could do it. And so I'm able to help people with this channel, and that just makes me so happy. Just that by sharing my life and doing what's really therapy for me is actually helpful to others. And so that's cool. And just because it's kind of funny, probably the most, it's funny because I reply to all the comments. Like, it's something I want to do is actually interact with the audience, because that's what I think is so beautiful about YouTube. People regularly comment, that guy, because it's just that guy when you're watching a YouTube video. It's like that guy that is messing with his finger or fixing the car or whatever. Like, people are like, I think he kind of looks like Brad Pitt. Just kind of funny. I'm like, hey, I'll take it, right? But here's the thing, you guys, like, stop telling Brad Pitt that he looks like Imperial Beach Dad, because He recently tweeted that he's getting sick of that, so not true. That is pretty funny though. Okay, 2016 is ending, so 2017, let's talk goals, okay? I've got some big goals for 2017, and you're coming with me, okay? Because I'm gonna take you guys with me via YouTube, okay? First of all, my goal is to thrive and to beat this tumor, okay? I'm going to do that hopefully in the most effective and inspirational way. I'm going to be me again. I'm gonna be that dad of 6. I'm gonna return to my life as usual. Like, this is all going to happen. And so here's the thing, I have a prayer page, and a lot of people are praying for and supporting our family, which thank God and thank you guys that you're doing that, because seriously, like, Christy is essentially dealing with a 7th child most of the time because I'm so limited mentally, and it's awful. It's not awful, but it's our life, and it's hard, and without the support that we have from our amazing community, we wouldn't be able to do it. However, a lot of people are praying for me to be miraculously healed, and I'm honestly not praying for that. Here's why. I honestly feel like what's right for me is to be healed through treatment, and here's why. If I've been able to help people just by being open and honest about my craniotomy journey, if I go through radiation, chemo, whatever, and I take people along that journey, maybe people who don't have the same support system that I have, who don't have the same hope that I have, but I can offer that hope to them, like, that's worth a year of suffering and difficulty for me. And so I really want to go through treatment. I obviously do want to get rid of this tumor, but I want to do it kind of the long way, because I feel like that will be more helpful to others. And so that's my goal there, is to thrive, inspire, and beat the tumor. I'm going to surf every day. Okay, the doctors say that exercise is one of the best things I can do when going through radiation and treatment, because there's all these studies that show that the more you exercise, the less the side effects take you over. Now, most people going through it are a lot older than me, and their idea of exercise is walking or, whatever. But in this case, like, I can surf every day. I'm a freaking surf god. Not really, but I'm in good shape right now. I can do stuff. And so I'm going to be doing that as long as I can. If I have to stop surfing, I'm still going to try to get in the ocean every day. Maybe do some wave photography. You guys have seen that on my Instagram. I've been taking a lot of pictures and doing that stuff. So I'm going to do that, okay? I'm also going to treasure time with my family and my friends. This is really important to me, okay? Like, perspective is a great gift, and being told you have an inoperable brain tumor brings a lot of perspective, okay? The prognosis is good, the road to healing is gonna be long, but it's not like, no one's talking about how long I have to live or anything like that. Although, there is some talk about whether or not I'll fully recover mentally. And so the good news is, like, I'm happy. I'm just like, I'm off in my own world doing arts and crafts and stuff, and I'm not unhappy. The bad news is that, Christy is picking up all of the slack, and I wanna be able to, get back to being a contributor and not put all of this on her shoulders. And so really it's kind of the caretaker I'm most concerned about. So I really do want to do that. Okay, other stuff. I want to get my driving privileges back, because my driver's license automatically got suspended because of the seizure. I'm 3 months in. Once I've been seizure free for 6 months, I can get it back. It's so, I don't know what the right word is, like empathizing, is that a word? I don't know. Emasculating it's just so difficult to not be able to drive when you love driving. Like, my alter criminal ego is like, if I could do anything and there were no consequences, I would love to be a wheelman. Like, I want to be Jason Statham. And even just I look at Craigslist free just out of habit, and it's like, oh, look, cool free things that I can't go get because I don't have the ability to drive right now. And I want to be able to drive again. And so that'll happen soon, and I'm really excited about that. Also, I want to dive into my art. I have plans to do some big murals. I have plans to do some more portraits. I have plans to do, again, more hats, I guess. I don't know, lots of crochet. I'm stoked. Somebody brought me today a huge thing of yarn, and I'm like, yes, yarn, that's so cool. So I'm going to make some more stuff, and that's fun. I'm going to continue to dive into photography. This is something that I just have been playing with since surgery, but I feel like I'm kind of okay at it. I did a newborn shoot for my daughter and came away with some really great pictures, but it's something that, like I said, it's art every day. Posting that photo on Instagram every day is therapy for me, to sit down and edit that photo and then post it. Plus, I get to do some fun stuff that just is funny to me and makes everybody go crazy, and that's always fun too. So those are goals. Another goal, bucket list, okay? A bucket list is a list of things you want to do before you die, okay? And a lot of people have that bucket list of like, someday I want to go skydiving or whatever. There's one thing I'd like to do if I could do anything, and it's like, here's the thing. Perspective being a great gift, I'm going to actually do some of the things on my bucket list because I'm facing an inoperable brain tumor and I'm 36 years old, so I can go do these things. And so I'm gonna do some bucket list items. Let me tell you about what they are, okay? The first one, and you're gonna come on this journey with me like right away, because it's happening on January 13 and 14, is the Roadkill show, which if you don't follow them on YouTube, go watch some episodes. You'll be hooked immediately. They are amazing, okay? They are doing a zip tie drag race and car show in Tucson, my original hometown. They're going to take a road trip with anybody who wants to meet them in LA, from LA to Tucson, with all their old cars and their, crazy just clapped out buckets and all that stuff. And then they're going to teach people how to drag race. There's going to be a car show and all of that stuff. So if you know, and maybe you don't, because I haven't really showed it much on the channel, but you're going to find out real soon. I have a custom 1967 chop top Mustang that's just so wild. It looks like a transformer. It's got suicide doors and a flip top hood and trunk, and every panel of the body has been modified. And I recently added side skirts, and it's awesome. It sounds so mean. It'll light up the tires, and it's so fun. And here's the thing, I can't drive it because I don't have a driver's license, but my super good buddy Kevin is taking time off work. Okay, my friends are amazing. I feel like sometimes I'm on the Truman Show, like, is this real? Or are you guys all paid actors that are paid to be this amazing to me? But Kevin is going to take time off work, and he and I are going to drive up to LA and do the whole thing, and we're gonna show the car, because I can't drive in the drag races, but we're gonna show the car. Before we do, we're gonna throw in the 9-inch rear end, and we're gonna do a bunch of thrashing on the car. I've already started filming and working on that, so you're gonna get to see that. It's gonna be really, really fun. So zip tie drag race, and put my car in a car show, and do a road trip in my 67 Mustang hot rod, because that's just freaking awesome. So we're gonna be doing that. Other stuff, we've got, on the Mustang, things I wanna do this year is put fuel injection in the Mustang. And by the way, the title sponsor of the Roadkill Zip Tie Drags is Phytech, which is the place that I want to get my fuel injection, so maybe I'll win it in the car show. That'd be pretty cool, right? And then also, I'm going to put the 5-speed transmission. I got a 5-speed out of a Fox body, so I'm going to make that thing a manual, and it'll be so much more fun to drive than the 3-speed automatic, and it'll just be easier to do burnouts and have more fun. So the hot rod of my dreams was never an automatic, and so we're going to fix that. Okay, other bucket list items, okay? This is a big deal for me. Here's the thing, when I post that I can do stuff like art, or I make a beanie and someone sees it, they're like, what can't you do? There's lots of things I can't do. I just don't post them on social media, okay? One of the things I can't do but want to do is play guitar. And so for Christmas, I got a guitar, and I'm really stoked on it. It's an electric acoustic, and so I'm gonna teach myself how to play guitar this year. I feel like if I get too sick and I just have to stay indoors, I don't know how bad it'll get, I can create music. And here's the thing, as I've been processing my whole life and going through these emotional mood swings that the tumor causes, music is often good therapy for me. And there's a few songs that I honestly just want to perform, and you'll see them on the channel at some point this year. I want to learn how to play, and I want to sing these songs because I just feel like it's something I need to do. I don't care if it's good or not, but I want to do it because it expresses kind of like, sometimes music just meets with your soul and says exactly what you're thinking and feeling in a way that is beautiful and that you can't always just say on your own. And so I'm going to learn to play guitar. I've got some songs kind of planned out, and I'm going to learn how to play them and all of that stuff. So I may be horrible at that, but that's on my bucket list, and I'm going to do it this year. Instead of just saying, I wish I knew how to play guitar, I'm going to learn how to do it. Okay. I'm going to build the most epic treehouse of all time. Okay. This is like Swiss Family Robinson, eat your heart out, okay? I've already begun, I've collected a lot of supplies, but this is going to be the most epic adult-friendly treehouse of all time, and I'm so excited. Like, we're talking zip lines and, like, electricity. It's gonna be the coolest thing ever, and so I'm gonna be doing that. You can follow along with that as I do it. I want to get sponsored. I have YouTube goals as well. I would really, really like to pick up some sponsors that help make these videos possible, as well as help kind of meet the needs of our family. I'm on disability, and so I'm getting a percentage of my income, and thankfully we have great health insurance, and everybody's been super cool and generous to us, but the budget's tight. God's continued to provide. I know that He will, and I would like to see our YouTube channel grow. And that's just a goal. Again, it's a bucket list item that I have a successful YouTube channel, and so now I've gone from whatever I started at, 300 subscribers. Now I'm at, as of today, 1,080 subscribers, which is pretty cool. And so, and people think I look like Brad Pitt, whatever. So here's the deal. That is my 2016 year, my 2017 hopes and dreams, and the journey that I'm gonna bring you on with me. Now, here's the thing. I would really like to know, what were the high and low points of your 2016? Maybe you could comment that. What were the high and low points of your 2016? And what are you hoping for in 2017? And maybe another comment would be, what's on your bucket list? Like, do you have an actual bucket list? And I would encourage you with this, why wait? Can you do some of those items now? What would it take? Would it take some savings? Would it take, I mean, like, I bought my guitar on Amazon for $110 with like a drop it protection plan. I mean, like, it's not the worst thing in the world. A lot of times what's holding you back is just giving yourself the green light. And so I'm giving you the green light. Go do something amazing this year. And then of course, like and subscribe if you want to follow and all of that stuff. You can share this video, that helps me out. But you guys, I really don't care about that. What I care about is you. And I just care about doing this because it's helpful to me, it's helpful to my family. So I love you, stay stoked, and have a great 2017. Happy New Year. My YouTube blew up in 2016. I worked really hard on it, and check it out. What? Oh, that sucked. 2 foster sons that we were fostering, and then we have our 2 sons and a girl at this point. So I'm sorry, that's 5 kids at that point. So we had 5 kids and a daughter. Did I say that? Yeah, I don't know. Let's start.